and welcome to Take the Lead with Jan Marino. And today I have a really special guest on, Candace Jordan, and I'm so excited to have her on because we've never met in person.
No.
But I contacted you through LinkedIn, and I said, do you want to be interviewed on our online TV show? And thank you again, Meet Advisors, for giving us this opportunity. And she said yes.
Well, first of all, I never say no to an interview, so let's get that right out front. But I do like you, Jan. I met you.
That's great. That's great. So I know I read a couple of things about you that I thought were interesting about your background, but tell us what you're doing now, because what we do is focus on people who are taking the lead in business in Chicago, and also people who have successfully reinvented, transitioned themselves, and you certainly have done that.
Well, thank you.
So,
I started, as a lot of people already know, as a Playboy bunny.
I know.
And then I was a centerfold for Playboy. So the leap to what I'm doing now is kind of a big leap. And it happened not overnight. It was kind of gradual. I've always been a journalist. I've always loved photos and taking pictures. And so I started writing for Chicago Now. And and I loved it. And at the time, the Chicago Tribune was repositioning their paper and building a new platform. And they were looking for a social columnist, and that's what I wrote about.
Okay.
And so my community manager recommended me. I went for the interview, and I got the job. So now I wear many hats, though. It's not just a columnist for the Tribune, but I also have my own blog, CandidCandace.com, that I love to do, which is how really all this started. I have an internet show, Candid Candace TV, that is also associated with Watch312.com. I have a Rivet radio show that I just started doing, Candid Candace. And those are all the kind of mini hats that I wear.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah. So how did you make, at what point did you decide that you were going to get into media and really get serious about it?
It wasn't a conscious decision. It's like, my philosophy is that whenever a door opens, you walk through it, no matter what. You have to be fearless. You have to be able to take a leap of faith, so to speak.
Right.
And, I knew I did not go to Medill journalism school, but I knew that I could write. I knew I loved to write. And I knew I had a passion for a social life. I mean, I love being out among people. I love talking to people, interviewing people, like you.
Right.
And so it was really a natural fit for me to do this. And it wasn't a conscious decision. It just really morphed into what I'm doing now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And before the interview, I said to you, okay, I want to know what it's like to go to the events that she goes to. And she looks gorgeous in the paper, and I wait every week to see where Candace has been. And
where's Waldo?
Yeah, who's she talking to? So, tell me your best story.
Well, I have a couple of best stories. I'm going to tell you my most recent story, and then I'm going to tell you my favorite interview of all time. Was for the Chicago International Film Festival.
Okay.
And it was the world premiere of Stand Up Guys, starring Al Pacino, John Bon Jovi wrote the music, Alan Arkin, Christopher Walken. I mean, it was just a cast like none other. And I thought, my knees were literally knocking. Al Pacino, he is globally famous. He's probably the #1 rated star in the world.
Right.
And I will tell you, when I interviewed him, he was the nicest person I've ever talked to. He would have talked all day long on the red carpet, except his publicist had to tap him on the shoulder. And it wasn't just for me, although I'd like to think it was just for me, but he did that for all the reporters. Wow. He was the most generous guy. He made sure you got all the things that you needed for a story, and I will never forget that interview.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, he was really somebody I admire. Now,
That's
recently,
great.
Macy's had their great tree lighting ceremony. It
Right,
was the
they did.
107th tree lighting at
Wow.
Macy's, Marshall Fields before that.
Right.
And Ryan Seacrest, of all people, was the person who
Ryan.
lit the switch, and he did it with a Make-A-Wish child, and they had the American Idol winner, Lee DeWise, saying, he sang Christmas tunes. It was like your heart exploded.
Okay.
But Ryan Seacrest is not as short as you think he is.
Well, that was my question.
Yeah,
I said, because I always wonder if the people that we see on TV, I always wonder if they're really tall or really short. And
Jon Stewart, hello, we're talking to you.
Jon Stewart, I'm sorry, but you're really short.
He's really short.
And that's fine, because you're so
talented.
smart.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm excited about your new film. However, next to David Letterman, you're short.
Yeah, right.
So,
but no, Ryan Seacrest, he's very well built, obviously, and he has his new clothing line, Ryan Seacrest Distinction now at Macy's, so obviously he wears his clothes well. But he comes up, he's taller than I am, I'm 5'7", so he has to be 5'8" or at
Yeah.
least maybe even 5'9".
Yeah.
And I always thought that he was short, and he really surprised me.
Oh, cool.
Hmm.
Okay.
And he's also another nice guy. He gave me some. I asked him because Dick Clark was his mentor.
Oh,
and of
yes,
course
that's
Dick
right.
Clark, who legend. And I said, "What's the best advice Dick Clark ever gave to you?" And he said it was to make it look easy. He said, if you make it
Oh.
look easy, he says, no one will think that what you're doing is, everybody will think they can do it too, and they can't.
Oh, that's really great advice.
Yeah.
That really is great advice. So, what advice would you give someone who's just starting out, let's say, in a media career? What would you say?
Try everything. I would say try everything. Make as many contacts as you can. I mean, you never know where that door is going to open.
Exactly.
And network like a mad woman.
Yep.
Those are all really key. What I find, and this is the most basic thing, and I find that most people don't even do this, and it just shocks me every time I ask them. They don't carry cards.
I do. I
They,
gave you
well,
my
you
card.
gave me a card, but I will guarantee you that if you ask people that you think, oh my God, of course they have cards, they will say, oh God, I left it at home, I left it in the car. That to me is absolutely shocking.
Right.
And that's just a
Yeah.
basic thing. But I mean,
That's-
many people don't carry cards.
And that's very basic.
It's
I mean,
basic,
really.
yeah.
Yeah, you.
But really, networking, be fearless. Walk through any opportunity and grab it by the hand, and that's probably my favorite and best advice I could give.
And I always think, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, they say no.
They say no.
And that's
Exactly.
another thing, though. You have to be prepared for rejection.
Right,
I mean, you can't wear your heart on your sleeve,
No,
and,
no.
and all that. I mean, you have to be very, not hardcore, but you have to, know that maybe, my mother always had a great line. She said that for every pot, there's a lid that fits it.
Yes.
And so I always figure I'll find my lid one day, and, here's another
you
case
go.
in point. When I went to New York to model, I went to Ford, because that's the name that I
Right.
had heard, they were
Right.
the biggest. And they rejected me, and this is why they rejected me. They said that the length from my knee to my ankle was too short. That was a serious reason for rejection. So I went over to Wilhelmina. They welcomed me with open arms. I did a billboard in Times Square. So that's a really case in point. But you know who my agent is now? Ford.
Ford. I thought I read that.
See,
I
you
thought
never
I
give
read
up.
that.
Never give
Wow.
up, never give in.
That is great.
Yeah.
That's great. So, one more time, let people know how they can get a hold of you.
Oh,
what
thank
you're-
you.
Oh, sure.
Thanks. It's Candid Candace really across the boards on Facebook, on Twitter. My internet show is Candid Candace TV. I have my Rivet radio show is Candid Candace, which by the way is a free app on your iPhone or your
Okay,
pads.
right,
and
right,
it's
right.
really it's the first. It's customizable radio. It's brand new. They're getting great press on it.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, listen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you for having
Yes,
me.
Thank you.
And good luck to you.
Thanks.